Another Commonwealth champion, Nathan cleverly defends his title against Billy Boyle at the York Hall on Friday night. Joining us on the line now is fellow light heavyweights, Clinton Woods. Clinton, welcome to the show.
How are you doing? Are you all right?
We're very well, Clinton. How are you?
Clint.
I'm good, yeah, thank you.
Listen, we've got a nice, we've got Nathan Cleverly boxing tomorrow. He's a lovely kid. He's 22 years of age. Clint, can you gate crash back into the British scene, or are you still concentrating on the world scene, Clint?
No, I don't think I'll ever come back to the domestic scene, unfortunately. I never won I won the British title, but I never defended it.
Yeah,
it's always been a big gripe, really. But I don't think I'll ever come back to British level now.
Now, Clint, there was a lot of speculation that you might be in line for a rematch and a bit of revenge and a nice few quid against Roy Jones. But I've heard just overnight that he's going to be fighting Jeff Lacey on August 22nd in New Orleans. Was that news to you, or did you still think there was a chance of a Roy Jones fight?
Listen, when Dennis first told me about the Roy Jones thing, I said to him, look, don't tell me anything else now until it's nailed on.
Yeah, right, as well.
So in my career, there've been big fights talked about, and then they've been cancelled. So I never set me out on it. I think I've got something else even juicier coming up anyway. So
can you share it with us, Clint?
Well, let's just say my next fight for the world title for the world title fight again.
Oh, that's
what we're hoping.
That's right.
That's what we like to hear. Well, speaking of world titles and Roy Jones, James Slater has emailed in for you, Clint. He says, given the chance, who would you prefer to avenge? The Roy Jones defeat or the Antonio Tarver defeat?
Tarver, because I was so bad that night against Jones. I just weren't good enough at that time. Against Tarver, I was embarrassingly bad.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. Well, you know, there's all sorts of reasons. Let me just ask you a little bit about Nathan Cleverly and Billy Boyle. He's a chef, a Yorkshire boy like you. Have you sparred with Billy?
Yeah, I sparred with Billy. Do you want to know something? No, Billy Boyle. When I first walked into the gym and saw him, I knew he was unbeaten, and I saw him and I watched him and I thought, God, how's he unbeaten? But when you get in the ring with him, that's why he's so tough, and he's harder to hit than you think. He's a tough kid. He's a good scrapper. And he's got a right work rate. I think he's probably going to be the best fighter that Nathan clearly probably boxed. So it might be a harder fight for him than what he thinks.
Yeah, because the only defeat on Boyle's record is when he got outfiddled by Tony Oakey, and there's no shame in getting outfiddled by Tony Oakey. He's a master fiddler. Let's get it right.
No, yeah, and do you know, like Billy Boyle is such a character. He works all day, does plastering.
Yeah.
He comes to the gym. There's no warm up. He gets straight onto the bags. He does about 10 rounds on bags. He does about 50 rounds on pads. He skips sparring. Gets his gym bag, goes home, and that's it.
No shower, nothing. Just does his stuff and goes.
He's a right throwback.
Oh,
I'll tell you something. When you do spar with him, he has a right go at you. It's brilliant. He's a great kid.
Oh, that's on Sky tomorrow. I'm doing another plug for Sky. Also on that bill tomorrow is Kevin Mitchell back against the Kenyan. Kevin Mitchell made #1 challenger for the WBO Super Featherweight title. Real fight Roman Martinez. Maybe this summer, certainly by September. Listen, Clint, it's a pleasure talking to you. When might this announcement take place? And any chance I can get it exclusive on the show?
I reckon it's going to be next 2 weeks. It's going to be a definite date.
Well, if you can do it about 2 o'clock on any Thursday, we can do it live. Tell Dennis that.
What about you two doing, other than Satanta Sports, doing a Satanta comic strip or something?
Oh, listen, I'm trying to do anything at the moment. I'm available for bar mitzvahs, after dinner speaking. I'll even clean up after myself and provide the fairy cakes. Listen, Clint, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Give my love to Dennis.
All right, mate. Cheers, thanks a lot.
See you later, boss man.
Bye-bye.
You know what? He's a great guy, Clinton Woods, and he didn't let anybody down last year against Tarver, because when you're as good as Clinton, you don't let people down when you lose to guys as good as Antonio Tarver. But he knows he got it wrong. Yeah. We saw his face, Andy. You and I were in the studio that night, and there was just a look of, there was anger on his face because he just couldn't get it right. Everything he tried went wrong, and he still only got beat on points. Let's talk it. You know, he didn't get smashed to bits and cut and beat. He only lost. You know, only lost on points, and he's been angry, I think, since then. He's won an IBF eliminator, so maybe that's the route he's going down. Either way, he's a absolutely top gent.
Yeah. So Clinton, looking at the world scene, he's still though regarded as the best of the British. Nathan Cleverly though, not far behind now when you look at the British rankings.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those situations, and it was a bit like when Joe was around, when Joe was at super middleweight. There's all those other guys who were all those other guys that were super middleweight, Commonwealth champion or British champion or even European champion. And of course they were always below Joe, just a bit, not dissimilar really to the Ricky Hatton situation. So you see Cleverly there. I'm not sure there's a final E in Cleverly. I think there might only be 2 E's in Cleverly, not 3. I don't know. I can check that. Clinton Woods is at the top there, and it's absolutely right for him to sort of drop down and fight Cleverly. Cleverly, of course, fighting Billy Boyle tomorrow. There's a fantastic description, I think, by Clinton and Billy Boyle. And then in theory, he fights Danny McIntosh, who's the unbeaten kid from, I think, down Norfolk way. Fights him later in the year, I don't know, middle of July. In fact, he fights him on the 18th of July. Tony Oki, who, be honest with you, I love Tony to death, but I wouldn't let him near a lot of those fights, simply because he's awkward. And he's liable to annoy you. He's liable to beat you. He's liable to beat you in a fight that really no one wants to see. I'd like to see Tony Oki sort of almost put on exhibitions, because he's just a skill. He's an artisan. He's an old-fashioned artisan.
Of him? A top fiddler.
He's a top fiddler, yeah. He fiddles. He shows you one thing. You go to throw something. He hits you there. He's gone over there. He's smiling. He looks out the ring. He winks. There was a guy called Pat McCormack used to fight in the 70s. He eventually won the British light welterweight title. And just for a joke, sometimes Pat McCormack in the middle of the round, you know, during the break, would smoke a cigarette. Well, that's a bit like Tony Oki. Sort of imagine Tony Oki to walk back after a round, draw a cigarette, look out the ring and sort of wave at someone and order a cocktail for the middle of the next round, because he's so on top of his game. He's so in control. I mean, he lost to Dean Francis in a title fight where he let his heart rule his head. If he'd have tried to fiddle Francis, he would have probably been all right. Instead, for some stupid reason, he tried to go toe-to-toe against a heavy-handed guy, Dean Francis, who, of course, lost in prize fighter this week.
Indeed. Quick apologies to Nathan. We did put an extra E in his name. We won't do it again, Nathan. Never mind.